So, could you
want to know about this?
yeah, could you explain this and then maybe make an demonstration?
Yeah. Well, this is by far the most complicated piece in the room, and in a way the most unfocused. It sort of grew the way a lot of my projects do, from spot to spot, whereas almost everything else stays pretty much locked into the original concept. The original piece here was the cloud, the idea of a dark cloud being an omen of bad luck. And I liked the cloud in the room because I was worried about the sort of physicality of the installation, and you know, almost everything else is sort of small and still. I wanted big things. I wanted, you know, just in terms of how you try to fill a space, you don't want things that are all on the floor, all on the wall, all in the middle. The idea of getting a hanging piece of kind of significant bulk was really interesting to me, but because of the rules of the show, I couldn't just sculpt a big cloud. Luckily, I had a bale of cotton tatting left over from a previous show about the French Revolution, where we made wigs.
Oh, I remember the wigs. Yeah.
And we got this material from the arts, and I thought, if I bail it up and spray paint it, it'll look like a cloud. And then I immediately began to think about, I guess I was also thinking independently of that, of getting struck by lightning is a bad luck thing.
It's really bad luck.
Really bad luck, super bad luck. But I thought, if those were two separate pieces, that would, you know, I want my number 15.
Up to 14 here.
Right, so I conflate them together and make the cloud with the lightning, and that led to a kind of another kind of trope, I guess, that I've been interested in for a long time, which is the idea of the comic forefront, or the looky-loo, this carnival tradition of the backdrop that becomes a kind of a new context for the viewer. You stick your head through and you become a strong man, you can be flying an airplane or whatever. And so I thought, wouldn't it be more interesting if instead of being something that somebody looked at, it was something that they could inhabit? I was actually thinking that would be a camera here that people could sort of pose themselves being struck by lightning. But then needed a backdrop, but I couldn't paint a backdrop because of my rule. So years before, I'd done a show where I made a 150-foot painting based on the southwestern landscapes of the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoons. So I took the first section I could unroll, so it had nothing to do with, you know, and you can see the mesas and the road. You know, this would be sort of what the coyote would have seen just as he went over the cliff on his Acme rocket sled.
Or just before he got hit twice by the lightning.
Exactly. So
I demonstrate?
Yeah, you can unfurl it.
Oh, I do it myself.
Yeah.
All right.
And you can just if all the mechanisms hold, you're in complete control of your fate. You can crank it up.
Damn, that could do some damage.
It's very heavy. Yeah. Well, it's lightning. So you got to crank it up. And if you want to just drop it, you can really, you know, get the full effect of it.
No, this will be X-rated.
So this, I don't know, I actually did cut this out of a piece of homicide. It's very heavy.
That didn't violate the
But I
rule?
felt like it was just a series of geometric cuts, right? Sharp cuts, so not very expressive. I had a can of chartreuse paint, but then I did buy a couple of extra cans because it wasn't going to fit on the cover. Actually, so that's it. And then I found the broken. I was looking for broken mirrors for obviously the broken mirror part, but I'd already solved the broken mirror thing when I saw this on the street. It was nice. It was the piece I had sort of envisioned for bad luck broken mirror. It was just an IKEA cabinet piece, and I had a mold of an elaborate frame that I bought at a hobby shop. And if you look at this, you realize it's not a real frame, it's a series of sections of frames that are kind of glued on. So the idea is that you could look, I guess, that, you know, this is also part of fudging the number. I sort of like the idea of the self-regard, that you could either set this up to be looked at, or you could look at yourself, and then
out of the blue things happen to you, it says in mirror writing.
Right. the original sign that's at the front of the room is written upside down. And this idea of performing writing and writing that is difficult to read and difficult to create sort of came out of another reading experience that I
Well, you do performances,
I
right?
do performances where I write and draw, and sometimes I write and draw upside down. And that level of dislocation, the degree of difficulty which creates an image that you can't fully control as an artist is really a gift, I guess, in a way.
But can you briefly explain that, very briefly, the writing upside down? It sounds so strange until you